The manga and indie manga space has a lot of good people and a lot of bad people, and there's a few terrible people. Some of these people are capable of doing significant damage as they're able to weasel their way out of their misdeeds, from scamming, cheating, and child grooming. These are probably the worst offenses an online creator can commit. Someone with a huge ego online thinking they can get away with everything only to realize how he's been shooting himself in the foot every day with his stupid moves. Meet Gakusei Muto, Manga School. So I'll give a gist of everything this guy has done to my knowledge and why absolutely no one should watch or support this guy. The current name of Muto's channel is Manga School, in which he's uploading content that's pretty much the same as his older content, though the branding pretty much hides his face and former name and the dirt on it. He made an excuse for his rebrand, being that he was rebranded because he said he had a team. Looking at his newer and older content, so first off, it's a massive degradation from his older content, which was anyways trash-ass content, and his new content is just low-effort content with barely any basis to his claims. If you look at his thumbnails, you can see he's only trying to sell a narrative to new manga learners than actually help them out with anything. A great example is how he showcases and says solo leveling out of everything should be a point of reference for a beginner mangaka to see life-changing results. He's never tried it out, nor does he have any basis to his claims, and if you say copying from a power fantasy manga is a game-changing idea, I'm sorry buddy, but you're simply lying out of your ass cheeks. Before he rebranded his channel into a generic name such as Manga School, he named his channel Gakusei Muto. In this channel, he poses somebody who was a manga guru and someone with vast amounts of knowledge in the manga field, much like somebody who could get you to a zero to a hero. He made videos like, if you do the simple X trick, you'll be ahead of 90% of the other mangakas, or stop wasting your time doing X, and if you do X, you'll get killed or something. It was for the most part emotionally manipulative content and clickbait with no basis. This video is the worst example of his shitty fear-mongering content. You will die, so make manga. He also called his viewers retarded for not following his advice. So this comes from somebody who severely slacks on making one-shot. For the most part, he only made 3 one-shot, and each of them is only like a yearly release. Right now, his manga career is in limbo. He hasn't uploaded a single manga at all from August of 2024. Most of his older videos were basically just cheap motivational content in which he puts anime visuals like anime like Bakuman, Rent a Girlfriend, and he gives the most trash and generic manga advice. Sort of like motivational content that says, if you're sad and depressed, how about try not being sad and depressed? It's easy to say, but it's incredibly hard to follow. This formula of making content is very useful for people who do not have real knowledge on what they're talking about. He was so good with his exploitative practices that he was able to create masterclasses, despite barely knowing dog shit. Muto had ran 2 types of masterclass events and services in the past. One of them would give access to his manga titled Faint and some videos and some manga templates, and also, quote-unquote, getting a lot of value in return or something like that. The second program is more bullshit than the former. It's basically a manga review for $20 and he would take a week to complete it. And he would only send you a PDF document on what you should improve. I mean, if you take a look on his profile at Manga Creators, scroll to one of his mangas, you'll see how good he actually is, in order for him to charge a $20 for a fucking review. Pig shit anatomy, stiff figure poses, and also a lack of backgrounds, and a lot of poses which are obviously traced. He also made videos in the past telling people how to make manga using ChatGPT prompts. I mean, this is atrociously embarrassing for somebody who claims that they have mystical and hidden manga knowledge, and they suggest you to create a story using fucking GPT. For the most part, if he takes a whole week to review a manga online and asks you $20 for it, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, thinking that he's going to actually put in effort to actually review your work. Currently, he switched from Masterclasses to paid Discord servers. It's a similar tactic. He advertises it as a game-changing place in which you would meet experienced mangakas, a focused manga community. First, he yaps in his video with clickbaity dog shit, and then he has around 4 mangas, which are all probably substandard in quality. Then he claims he has a community and a fucking team that you can talk to in his server. This is also $2 a month, by the way, and I damn well know that he has no team, and neither does he have a community of experts. For the most part, his paid Discord is likely a facade in order to avoid getting his dark past and his dirt leaked out. I joined Muto's server in early July, and I was rather new to the place. Most of the members seemed chill, and I didn't really know what was going on in the server. I thought everything was normal until I was told in a group chat that Muto was a creep, and a few members had really uncomfortable experiences with him. Muto was also someone who never replied in DMs except if it was a girl. This should probably explain what this guy is full of. This guy had massive ego issues. He would send us gym pics of him shirtless in a server of minors. Around this time, there was an anime convention in Germany, which is the country in which Muto lives. The Dokomi Anime Convention of 2024, in which Muto was planning to meet up with a few fans, and most importantly, a minor. Muto had delusions of grandeur in his server, and he said many times that he would expect to see a lot of girls waiting for him. In the Dokomi Anime Convention, he thought he could meet up with a lot of his female fans and more girls, who were likely a lot more younger than he was. During this time, before he was going to the anime convention, he was doing something extremely disgusting and unforgivable online. He was grooming a minor online and showcasing his predatory behavior. So he was talking to a 16-year-old as a 22-year-old, and the girl said she was gonna be 17 soon. He called a 16-year-old girl a good girl, and gave these weird-ass plus points and asked if she wanted pictures of him. He also asked her if she wants to eat his hair or pinch his abs and all weird crap. And yes, this motherfucker asked her if she had a Telegram. If you don't know what Telegram is, it's a messaging platform that has high-end encryption and allows for wiping of conversations, so he can say or send even more explicit stuff to the minor. The minor was also a cosplayer, and Muto wanted her cosplay pictures. This guy was desperate as fuck for those pictures. He was pretty damn stupid with the girl as well, as he went to the beach around 3 a.m. just to impress her. This weird-ass pedophile. What's even worse is that he wanted to meet her alone in a cafe or some place like that. This was a bit around the time he was supposed to go to the Dokomi convention. He told her that he won't meet up with her at the convention as he wanted a one-on-one. His ass was really willing to meet up. The only reason he didn't meet up with the girl is because she admitted that she actually lied about her age, and her age was actually 15 and not 16 as she told him. After that, he declined every request because he thought he would be outed as a pedophile or something. And the excuse for that perverted behavior with the discussion with the girl was that she was a 16-year-old and she was gonna turn 17 soon. So, it was actually right for him to call her a good girl, send pics of his body, and ask her for cosplay pictures. After going to the Dokomi convention, he resumed his normal behavior. Ego tripping, inflating his self-value, and just being the creepy dumbass that he is. This was only until I exposed him on Twitter in July of 2024. The main reason I did this was because he had connections with 2 huge creators from what I was aware of, Monitor Comics and Third PHP. These 2 immediately disconnected with him because of his degenerate and disgusting behavior. Though back then, I was rather reckless as I only used a collage of screenshots to expose him, and I didn't have as much evidence as I do right now. I wanted to take this video and update everyone on the aftermath of his exposure, and release the whole story, from the background to the aftermath. After Muto was caught for being a predator online, he made a bastardized apology. He released his awful apology post in his Discord server about the situation, barely saying what he did, and he made it seem like a cheap dismissal. He also had the gall to talk about his manga titled Again, which this dumbass was so hyped for. And yes, I have the information about the creation of his one-shot titled Again by Gakusei Muto. So this one-shot titled Again was supposed to be a mystery one-shot, in which he would showcase his art and storytelling skills. The problem is, most of the talent that he used in his one-shot wasn't even his. And yes, this guy bastardized the efforts of other people and claimed things for himself. He claimed to have a writer who would help him on the story for his one-shot, but for the most part, I personally believe that the writer only gave him a concept. The story wasn't really outstanding, and it was just super basic. The art seemed like it was made by two different people. So one person barely did anything, and the other person had to carry the deadweight's ass. Muto was so inconsiderate to credit his assistant in the process of making it. Muto made it seem like he was working on his one-shot as much, or even maybe more, than his assistant one was. In reality, he was really just lying out of his ass cheeks. Now I know this because I talked with his assistant. Now, his assistant chose to remain anonymous and not be involved with the situation, which I fully respect, so I will not mention him by his name or credit him. So the full story of Muto's manga, titled Again. He talked with his assistant on Discord and said he has around 2 months to work on the backgrounds, screen tones, coloring, and to also refine his god-awful figure drawings. Muto had said that he had been working continuously on his manga for around 9 months. I'm here to say that that is a bitch-ass lie. He only had the balls to send his storyboards to his assistant. And he was like, "Hey, fetch," expecting his assistant to work their ass off for an improper compensation. First, he lies out of his ass to his viewers and to his assistant, saying that he's gonna make a quote-unquote top manga. Top manga, my ass, bro. The assistant was improperly compensated by Muto for his work. He came into the assistant's DMs around June 5th of 2024 and told him that he has around 2 months to transform his god-awful storyboards into something that he can read, into something that can be read. All for a compensation of $380. $380 with the tip included, by the way. So, this rate is way below the industry standard, like extremely low, especially for the amount of skill and experience that the assistant had. The assistant also felt improperly compensated and felt like he was improperly credited as well. So, $380 for 62 pages. So if we divide $380 by 62, we get approximately $6 per page. He wanted his assistant to make the backgrounds, screen tones, clothing, and to also fix his trash-ass artwork. For this type of work, on the lower end, the industry average is around $30 a page for this much amount of work. At this point, Muto doesn't even deserve to call himself a fucking mangaka, since he made somebody else do almost all of his manga work, and he pays him significantly below the industry standard. And he was so happy to mention his one-shot titled Again in his apology, something that he does not deserve to hold the title for. Another thing is, he cheated in the manga competition with his one-shot, or at least he tried to. So, he made this one-shot titled Again to enter a competition run by Shueisha on this website called Manga Plus Creators. I have credible evidence that he was trying to gain as many views as possible, literally using every tactic. The first one was a giveaway scheme, in which he asked his fans to read and comment on his one-shot, and then send him a screenshot of their replies, to get a chance of a giveaway for either a $10 gift card or a Discord Nitro. This is hellishly exploitative, especially since most of his loyal fans following the incident were minors. Muto knew about this, and he didn't give two shits. He also used his alts to spam views and to give him artificial traction. Around August, when he posted his manga, he had around 440k views, which is horribly inflated for the most part. The way Manga Plus Creator works is that its views are actually views per page and not views per read. So for one read, he would get around 62 views on his one shot because there's 62 pages. So, if we divide 440k by 62, it only gets a total of 7k views. The worst part, this donkey posted about his success like it was hard-earned or honorable. I mean, if you read the shit on his Instagram story, you can see how much of a lying dickhead he is. He credits his manga for an eye-catching cover that he barely even worked on. And then he says some bullshit about helping people make their mangas, and the worst statement of them all. He said that there is no better manga in the August competition at the time. I mean, again, if you read his shit, it's the most laughable trash you can ever read. It feels like an orangutan picked up a pencil and vandalized a readable manga. The dialogue is also not anything that's so outstanding. I mean, if you look at how fucking ass his drawings are, especially that cartoon demon, you can see that he lacks any sort of talent or potential. His mod team was not a fan of this. They called him out for his egotistical behavior. He responded to them in a cheap and thoughtless response, that he knows everything and that he's correct. It sounds like someone is compensating here. They disagreed further, and then he decided to purge his server with a bunch of mass bans. After my Twitter thread, in which I exposed him for being an online creep and predator, there were a few things that happened. He sent 2 response posts which were both equally dogshit and laughable. He diverted his sins with a one-shot that he was making, and in no way in any of his apology posts was he trying to take any accountability. It was all so that he could control the damage. The first response post is laughable, and it addresses nothing. The second one seems like he's trying to take accountability and blame, but when you actually read it, he's just lying out of his ass. His first lie. He framed the situation in a way that it just so happened that he was in the same place as the miner. If you look at some of his screenshots, he planned to meet the miner by a 7-hour travel, and it wasn't really some sort of coincidence on why he wanted to meet up. The second lie. Her real age was 14. So yes, the girl lied about her age initially being 16, but it was actually 15. After that point, Muto refused as he lacked interest in her and thought of her as a kid. The third lie from him that his interactions with the girl was legal. Now this stems from the misconception that the age of consent in Germany is 14, so a 30 or 40-year-old man can basically date a 14 or 15-year-old girl. Now there are these laws titled Romeo and Juliet laws, and for Germany, it only applies until 21 or below. After that, it isn't legal in this country. Once I released my Twitter thread, there were still some of his fans who were on his defense, and there were mostly younger kids who were very loyal fans to him. Muto shamelessly tried many ways to regain his crippling reputation among his fans, though none of his attempts really worked. His account also got hacked around in August. Then after that, he sent out a bunch of Steam gift code links. He's extremely disliked now, which is what tempted him to rebrand and hide away from his dark past. And looking at all the acts that he committed, we shall see the crimes that he can be punished for. Crimes and legal issues that Gakusei Muto can face. Since Muto is not in the threshold of the Romeo and Juliet laws in Germany, since he's a 22-year-old and the minor he had conversations with claimed that she was 16. If he was 21 and under, he would be safe under German law if he were to talk like that with a minor. It would still be immoral regardless. But the statement that what he did was legal since the age of consent is 14 and Muto went for a 16-year-old is wrong. You see, 14 isn't the age that's the minimum for him. If he was 22 and under, he would be protected by the law. But since he is 22 at that time and 23 currently, he can most definitely get investigated under German law. he tried to keep this secretive as he wanted to talk with the girl on Telegram. So this could also be taken into account as well. The second thing that he can be charged for is improper compensation and credit. Now, he won't go to jail for this, but he can receive a lawsuit with this one. So, I talked with his assistant on Instagram, and he claimed that Muto did not credit him in his now deleted video talking about his one-shot, titled Again. He made it seem as though he was doing most of the work in this one-shot titled Again, but he had significantly lied and misrepresented his process on how he made this one-shot. He could be sued for this if the people he worked with decided to take action against him. Lastly, about his giveaway, he deleted all evidence of it happening in his server, despite a screenshot of it, in which he would promise his fans that if they spammed views, they would get Discord Nitro or a $10 gift card. So far, there's been no evidence of that actually happening. So we can say that he can also be convicted for hosting a scam as well. I'm not saying these conviction and legal actions are guaranteed for somebody like this, but he should be aware that his actions are highly damaging, and he's not free from the consequences of his past. And by chance, if anyone were to decide to take action on him, the consequences of his actions can be dire. I had to make this video because I had so much information and dirt on Gakusei Muto. I don't want to make videos in which I attack people or talk about people in general, but when someone has such a large following and is doing immoral things, you have to take action on such matters, especially when you know most about such things. I'm sorry if I was incoherent and impulsive in this situation. I tried my best to get what I needed to release almost everything on Gakusei Muto. I wanted to say that if this is a standard for what someone should call themselves, a mangaka, a manga creator, or God forbid, a sensei, that we should significantly consider to reinforce standards on such things. Because shit stains like Muto do not deserve to even have the right to talk about manga, or try and develop a cult following or a fan base like he did in the past. For the most part, I will not be making videos on this individual, Gakusei Muto. I wanted to release this video so that if anyone plans collaborating, talking about, or even sponsor him, that they should highly reconsider the person that they are working with. He has been banned from many online manga spaces and is very, very disliked, for a good reason. Anyways, I'm Kite and the video is done.